In this session, we're going to look at control activities and marketing. Let's start with control activities. Well, controlling the marketing plan is crucial. It helps with the smooth running of the marketing plan. So right from the start, from its inception, right from the beginning, right through to its implementation, it's important that all aspects of the marketing plan are controlled. They must be monitored carefully and controlled to ensure that they coincide, that they link to what was planned. The plan must be implemented in its entirety. The plan must be well thought out. It must be the product of widespread consultation and careful thought and reflection, and then implemented fully. Controls are in place to provide feedback on progress, effectiveness and efficiency, and provides information for future plans. So it's important that the controls monitor and look at the progress of the plan. It provides feedback to the planners, to the marketing director, the marketing department, and to senior management as well. And it provides information about how effective the whole plan has been, and what are the issues, what problems are encountered, and what issues were encountered. How can the plan be modified and improved for future planning purposes? Managers that identify the value of control are most likely to achieve a successful marketing plan. So the value of control is important. Control is how the plan is implemented, how it's delivered, the sequence of events that takes place, and the rationale for the sequence of events must be clearly understood and articulated. And managers who effectively implement the plan will be successful. They will be the successful managers because they have abided by the rules. They have carefully thought out the rules. They have consulted with many people in the devising the plan. They have reflected on past experiences. They have carefully put together a plan, discussed it, communicated with relevant people within the organization, and finally implemented the plan. So they have done their job. Now, in control activities it's really a cycle, a planning cycle. So we start with the analysis of some situation, the analysis of what needs to be done. Now, this is part of the marketing planning scheme. So the marketing department look at some marketing situation and do an analysis of what's required. They then have to make a decision to move forward with a certain set of proposals, or to leave it and go back and do further analysis, or perhaps just leave it and let it iron itself out. It all depends. But they must make some decision, and the decision is based on the analysis that has taken place. If they decide to plan, then they move forward. So the decision is to develop a marketing plan, a strategy, if you like, to address some aspect of the market. Now, so far it's been based on the analysis of some market situation, perhaps introducing a product to a new area in the country, or modifying the product, or having a promotion related to the product. Some analysis has been done, and then the decision to do it or not to do it. And if they decide to do it, then they need a plan. How are they going to do it? And once they've decided how they're going to do it, they must implement it. There's no point in getting this far, having done the analysis, having decided to do something, having planned out how to do it, and then not doing it. So once they've got as far as planning, and they've got a plan, then they implement the plan. And the final stage is control. They must control the implementation, and that control will feed back information which will enter into further rounds of analysis of the market situation, which may mean modification to the plan. It comes round through the cycle again, the modifications will be implemented, and the controls will feed back information on how the modifications have worked. So this is a continuous cycle, moving from analysis to decide, to plan, implement, control, back to analysis, and so on, all the time hopefully improving the situation and improving the information about that particular market segment. Control activities and the planning cycle. Well, the planning cycle indicates control as a crucial element in order to close the loop. If we didn't have the control element, we would have this type of loop. We would have all the time starting from the beginning with our analysis and moving on to implementation through that process. But as it is, we've got the control aspect, the control which may be certain personnel within the marketing team who are looking at how well the overall plan has been implemented and the effects of the plan. So it closes the loop. Next, the control element accumulates information for the next planning cycle. It provides a forecast and suggests suggestions, it makes suggestions for improvements. So the information about that sector is all the time improving. The marketing personnel are getting more experience of what is required. And it's through the control process of trying to implement plans into that sector that the information is flowing back. The plans are working, they're not working as well as they thought, or they're not working at all, or whatever. Information is flowing back, and the information is fed back to the control part, who is looking at the overall plan, looking at the particular segment, looking at the implementation of the plan, and feeding back information into the analysis to say, in future, we need to do the following, because our experiences are that this hasn't worked, or this has worked well, or whatever. It's feeding back the information back to the analysis, which will refine the next round. The control element provides the following. It provides warning signs. That's the part of the process that says this plan is not good, or this plan is not working as anticipated. Anything untoward about the particular segment and the relationship of what was happening within that segment and the plan and the implementation of the plan, warning signs will flash up that customers are not happy, or distributors are not happy, or whatever. Warning signs can be picked up at the control stage. Information and outputs to the to following through to the next planning stage. So information is picked up and it's fed through to the next planning stage, which is important. It's important that the next planning stage should benefit from the previous one. We learn from our experiences. So here is the situation where the control part is in place, it's monitoring the plan, the implementation, and it's feeding back into the planning system, which refines the system. Learning from experience, as I said, and taking corrective action. Now, monitoring performance. Well, marketing planning needs to be monitored to ensure its effectiveness. It's important that marketing planning takes place to see how effective it is. Otherwise, there can be lots of marketing initiatives that are a waste of resources, a waste of money, a waste of time, a waste of skills, a waste of personnel. So it's important that marketing planning is monitored to ensure its effectiveness, that it's doing what was anticipated, what's required. Monitoring performance methods should be addressed and confirmed at the beginning of the planning process. So some sort of monitoring method should be set up. It could be using ratios, as I say here, to help benchmark performance internally. It could also be used to benchmark performance externally against competitors. So what share of the market does the company have? Is the share of the market increasing or decreasing? How internally is the performance shaping up? Is productivity increasing within the business? Are costs falling? Are costs increasing? What's happening? So perhaps some sort of ratios could be worked out to give a snapshot picture of the performance of the business. If shortfalls or trends have been highlighted in performance, management are in a position to take corrective action. But management can only take corrective action if they know about it. And the only way they can know about it is if the whole system is monitored, if there's some sort of control in place. So the whole activity must be monitored and must be controlled. And it's through the control mechanisms that information is fed back to management, who can take remedial action if something has gone wrong. They can change some aspect of the performance of the business, of the routines of the business, which will improve the performance, I should say, of the business. So performance, well, the control process. Well, we start with goal setting. What's the end result? What's the company trying to achieve? So the company must set some goals. It must aim at something. Otherwise it's just drifting along. It's aimless. So the company will set up some goals. Then it must measure the performance. What is actually happening? It's aiming at something. Now, what's happening exactly? How well is it performing? How well is it achieving the goals that it's setting? It must analyze its performance. Why have problems occurred? What are the problems? Why are they occurred? Why is the company not achieving what it expected? What's going wrong? And then it must take action, find a solution, implement the solution. And that will feed into the goal. It'll feed in perhaps into modifying the goals, setting new goals for the business, and again going round the circle, all the time in a sense being critical of its own performance, all the time looking for improvements, looking for better ways of performing. Now, monitoring performance, well, there is a need to be measures in place to monitor the performance of the sales volume and revenue. Sales volume and revenue need to be monitored. How is sales volume holding up? How effective are the marketing campaigns, the advertising campaigns, the contacts with the distributors, the feedback from the distributors, feedback from the market? It needs monitoring. It needs analysis. It needs to come back in some sort of form that management can analyze, think about, and make decisions based on that information. So sales volume needs to be monitored. And sales revenue. Sometimes sales volume may increase because the price has been reduced. But that may be detrimental to sales revenue. If the cut in price in percentage terms is more than the percentage increase in sales, then revenue will have fallen. So it's important that revenue and sales volume should both be increasing. It's important that the management has the information to know what is happening to those key indicators. Also, what's the profitability of products? Now, sometimes it's difficult to work out this. Management accountants are very good at it. They attempt to allocate the overheads of the business and the raw materials and direct labour. Then they apportion the machine time, and they're able to come up with quite refined figures. But the effort in doing it can be significant. And really, that activity applies to middle-sized businesses and large businesses. Small business can't afford, perhaps, the services of a management accountant. It would be an expensive calculation. But nonetheless, the management needs to have some indication of the profitability of the products. How much are they making on the products? And what's the cost of marketing and sales? That needs to be monitored. In a sense, marketing doesn't produce anything. It produces perhaps goodwill towards the business. It helps in selling the product, in marketing the product, and in dealing with the customers in the market. But in another sense, it doesn't physically make the product. So the cost of marketing and sales must be kept in check. It may be totally wrong to run advertising campaigns which are expensive and perhaps aimed at the wrong segment of the market. And this is why the marketing department is so important. Having said all of that, the marketing department knows which sector of the market to target. It should do research. It should have its finger on the pulse. It should know what customers want, what the latest trends are, what the technology is. They should know about what the distributors think and what the distributors require. So it's essential that this information comes back to the organization so good decisions can be made. It needs also to monitor its market share. How is it doing compared to its competitors? Generally speaking, companies have competitors. Generally speaking, there are a variety of products that are competing for customers' attention and customers' money, customers' sales. So the company needs to know what share of the market has it got, and is it losing market share to competitors, and why is it losing market share if it is? If it's increasing market share, then why is it increasing market share? What's it doing right so it can do more of it and put more effort into satisfying customer requirements, gaining a higher market share? And competitor performance. How are the competitors performing? It's not just looking at market share now, it's looking at the performance of the competitors in terms of their research and development, their innovation, the types of products that they're delivering to the market, their marketing campaigns, their strategies, and how well are they doing? I mean, it overlaps with number 4, the market share, but also it's a little wider. It's looking at the overall performance and routines of the competitors. What are they like as competitors? Then we come to the budget. The budget is the financial resource needed to successfully implement the marketing plan. When a marketing plan has been developed, it has to be implemented. We'll go back to the cycle we had much earlier. We have a marketing plan, we've planned it, now it needs to be implemented. Well, implementation is not free. There must be a budget. It might involve advertising, it might involve contact with consumer groups or contact with distributors, or there's a budget to be met. There's the cost of the marketing personnel themselves, transport, overheads, communications networks, salaries, transport, as I said, jot it all down. It's a long list. So there needs to be a budget in place. Or the size of the budget needs to be approved by senior management. And that, I suppose, will reflect the importance that senior management attach to the marketing initiative. Most often, departments are allocated a set budget and are required to work within the budget and produce maximum outputs. That's the easiest way to do it. At the start of the financial year for the business, the senior management meet and work out the various budgets for the various departments and then allocate the budgets, and then the departmental directors or departmental heads will try to work within that budget. So they know what they've got to spend, and it's for them to make good decisions to maximize the returns from that budget. So senior management set out the budgets, the departmental managers or directors have to work with those budgets and have to then try to maximize the amount they get back from the budget. The following needs to be considered. Is the marketing plan going to be profitable? The most basic question. When we consider budgets, the budget is precious. It's a fixed amount perhaps that the senior management have allocated to the department. It can't just be tried and spent. There has to be careful thought. It has to be done properly. So will it make a profit? Will the activities make a profit? If they don't make a profit, it's wasted. So a great deal of care is needed in looking at the marketing plan to ensure, or as far as possible ensure, that it's going to be successful and lead to a profit. And there's the opportunity cost associated with budgets. Could it be the case that the financial resources could be used more effectively elsewhere? Perhaps if the senior management didn't give a big budget to, say, marketing, but gave some of that budget to research and development, long term the business will do better because new products will be developed which will capture the customer's imagination and help the business long run, rather than putting money into the marketing department to try and bolster up existing products in the market. So there's an opportunity cost, as we call it. Opportunity cost is a topic that's dealt mostly in economics, but we have encountered it in several videos in this module as well. Determining marketing budgets are vital in the marketing mix. Financial budgets need to be sufficient in order for the implementation stage to be successful. So managers can plan all they want, but if they haven't got the resources to implement it, it's just planning. It doesn't do anything. So it needs implementation, and the extent of the implementation, the extent of the impact on the market will be dependent on the size of the budget and the efficiency with which the resources in the budget are expended. So it's a critically important, vitally important topic for the success of the business. Financial resources are important as it keeps projects running as planned, and departmental teams have budgets to ensure to work and meet their deadlines. So the budgeting process is important as it keeps discipline, if you like, within the organization. The different departments have budgets. They must work within their budget. They must try and justify their budgets, justify themselves by showing how they have contributed towards the profitability of the business and the success of the products in the market. And that really concludes our talk on control and marketing. It's all we need to do on this topic at this stage. It's an important topic, I suppose like all of the topics we deal with, but it's worth going back over it and running it forward again, stopping and starting the video as you want and making your own notes, and do some wider reading as well to supplement the notes that you're making. That's one of the sources that was used in the preparation, and that's all we're going to deal with. So thank you for watching.